Good evening. It's my pleasure to welcome you to NIACC this evening to celebrate North Iowa's entrepreneurs. Before I share a few thoughts, I would like to recognize some of our distinguished guests in attendance tonight. Governor Kim Reynolds, Dave. That was important, but now let's hold all of our applause till I get through this list. Okay. Dave Steffens from the NIACC board, if you just stand as I read your name, Dave, I see you back there. John Rowe from the NIACC board, Karen Knutson from the NIACC board, Dean Cataldo from the NIACC board, and Kathy Rottinghouse from the NIACC board. You can give them a round of applause. They're my bosses. Senator Amanda Reagan, please stand and be recognized. Mayor Nelson Crabb from Clear Lake, Mayor Byron Reuter, City of Forest City, Mayor Bill Schickel, City of Mason City. Please stand and be recognized. And from the NIACC Foundation Board, Molly Knoll, please stand, Kim Pang, Nancy Barnes, Gene Christensen, Larry Pump, and Gene Brum. Round of applause for those folks. Thank you. And I'd like to recognize Dr. Bob Alsop from Waldorf University. Bob, please stand and be recognized. There you are. Thank you. Entrepreneurship is the foundation of rural Iowa, and it is this mindset that allows Iowans to thrive in the Midwest since our statehood in 1846. And I firmly believe it'll be what propels us into the future. We are so thankful that John and Mary Pappajohn recognized the need to support this entrepreneurial spirit by establishing 5 entrepreneur centers in Iowa. NIACC is so thankful to be one of those centers. NIACC in North Iowa are so fortunate to have these resources available to our students, our emerging entrepreneurs, our existing businesses, and the entire North Iowa community. We know small business growth is the key to the health and growth of our rural communities. Governor Reynolds understands this as well, and that is why she established the Empower Rural Iowa Initiative and the Future Ready Iowa Initiative. These initiatives address the needs of rural Iowa and the employers that choose to do business here. Part of the Future Ready Iowa legislation was the establishment of a last dollar scholarship program that provides scholarships to support tuition and mandatory fees for 288 North Iowa students pursuing degrees in high demand fields. How about a round of applause for that? The total amount allocated for the fall semester to these 288 students is $391,037. So $391,000 this semester that supported those 288 students. The good news is we're going to support that many in the spring as well. So it's an $800,000 commitment from Future Ready Iowa to the students in North Iowa. It's a great program. Thank you. I believe these graduates will assist in filling the job openings in North Iowa and will be our next crop of budding entrepreneurs. Most importantly, these graduates will choose to live and work and pay taxes in North Iowa. This opportunity would not exist for these 288 students without the vision and the leadership of our governor, Kim Reynolds. As Iowa's 43rd governor, Kim Reynolds is determined to make sure that Iowa's success is every Iowan's success. Whether it's preparing Iowans for cutting-edge careers, fighting for education, improving healthcare and mental health access, or empowering our rural communities, Kim's priorities are making a difference in all 4 corners of the state. Her vision keeps Iowans at the center of all decisions, especially in the area of fiscal responsibility. Kim knows that when Iowa taxpayers are able to keep more of their money, great things happen. She also believes in redemption. Kim's justice reform initiatives carefully balance second chances with victims' rights. As governor, Kim Strong's voice for international trade, agriculture, and advanced manufacturing is opening new markets and maintaining relationships with leaders in China, Mexico, Canada, Israel, Thailand, Vietnam, the Philippines, Germany, Brazil, and Argentina, to name a few. Although she traveled the world telling Iowa stories, Kim is still a small town girl at heart with common sense values. These principles are reflected in the Governor's Empower Rural Iowa initiative and Future Ready Iowa. At age 57, Kim earned a bachelor's degree from Iowa State University. Then nearly 2 years later, on November 4th, 2018, she was elected by Iowans to become the first woman governor. Family means everything to Kim and her husband, Kevin. They have 3 daughters, Jennifer, Nicole, and Jessica, who are happily married, and they love spending time with their 10 very active grandchildren. Governor Reynolds has been recognized at the state, federal, and international level for her leadership in workforce policy and STEM education. Please join me in welcoming Governor Kim Reynolds to the podium. Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. This is a great turnout. Thank you all for being here to celebrate the great things that are happening in North Iowa. And Dr. Schultz, Steve, thank you for that very, very gracious introduction. And it is such a pleasure to work with you. I love what you're doing here at NIACC. And they have been just a tremendous partner. And he doesn't, you just have that can-do attitude to get things done. And I appreciate that so much. It's always good to be back in North Iowa, at North Iowa Community College, but especially for events like tonight's. NIACC is one of the real gems of Iowa's outstanding community college system. From 2-year degrees in career and technical training to online learning and continuing education to helping entrepreneurs seize opportunities. You heard the statistics with Future Ready Iowa. That is a game changer for young people and adults in Iowa to help them get the skills and to match them up with the job opportunities that exist right here in your area, from the innovation with the clearinghouse to STEM innovation, and all of those opportunities are helping our young people build relationships with our job creators right here locally. And you said it, most importantly, it keeps them in our communities and it keeps our main streets healthy, vibrant, and growing. So it is a win-win. We look forward to making sure we allocate all that money so we can go back to the legislature. Senator Reagan, thank you for being a part of it. This was a great bipartisan effort to allocate more money so we can keep this momentum going and continue to make a difference in the lives of Iowans throughout this state. But again, so kind of saying all that, this is a community college that connects the people of North Iowa to the superhighway of success by all of those things I just listed. And there's probably no better example of what a NIACC education can do than one of your most distinguished alumni, and of course that's John Pappajohn. And the Pappajohn name has become synonymous with entrepreneurialism in Iowa. I'm going to share the story, we all know it, but a Greek immigrant whose father died at a young age, John worked his way through college, and afterwards he didn't want to interview for a job, he wanted his own business. So he built it, from insurance agency to insurance holding company to one of the first venture capitalists in the country. John Pappajohn's story is honestly the quintessential American and Iowa dream come to life. And so I think it's important that we continue to share that story because it's reflective of what's possible for all of us each and every day. And John and Mary have been working for decades to share their success with not only all of Iowa, but really the country, and they've had quite an impact. As you've heard, the John Pappajohn Entrepreneurial Center here at NIACC is one of 5 throughout Iowa, and the only one at a community college. And that gives NIACC a unique and an impactful role in creating that spark of entrepreneurialism in young people just starting out in life, a retiree who is looking to turn that big idea into a successful business, and really everyone in between. Tim has done an amazing job of running this center. The statistics that you saw earlier, I think, speak for themselves, right? So let's keep the good work going because that's a real impact in Iowa. So congratulations. And, we're just grateful that John and Mary really have helped others grow as entrepreneurs and to support Iowa's dynamic ecosystem for business. I was actually sat down with John a couple weeks ago. We had breakfast, and you have to get up early if you want to work in with John because he's got a busy day planned. But, he honestly had such glowing things to say about NIACC's Entrepreneurial Center. He's very proud of what you're doing and the results that you're seeing. So he was very passionate about highlighting the great work that you're doing up here. So this gala is a celebration of entrepreneurs, both past and present. And we honor some outstanding award winners tonight who embody that remarkable spirit of innovation and risk that are the hallmarks of entrepreneurism. Tonight, Legacy Award winners are a couple icons of that spirit here in North Iowa, the late John Kay and Luise Hanson. Considering their prominence today for starting and growing Winnebago Industries and MBT Bank, John and Luise have earned their place in Iowa history. To listen to their story is to follow the roots of today's RV camping lifestyle. It's a tale of perseverance and determination that's truly remarkable. From furniture store and funeral home to International Harvester Implement, Oldsmobile dealership, the Hansons' life was one of building businesses and creating opportunities for themselves, their family, and their community. They created the modern RV industry, and they never left Forest City and North Iowa behind. Through their family foundations, the Hansons continue to give back and leave a lasting legacy for all of us. To their children, John V. Hanson and Mary Jo Bowman, who are keeping that legacy alive, from me and from all of us, thank you very much for continuing to impact so many. The award winners we'll be honoring tonight are also helping keep that legacy of entrepreneurism alive. Their ingenuity, innovation, drive, and hard work is really the foundation of a bright economic future for Iowa. As you know, 2 out of 3 new jobs created in this country are created by small businesses, and small businesses eventually become bigger. And we need to make sure that Iowa is a place where that spark can continue to happen. Accelerating innovation, creating wealth, and growing our startup ecosystem is a critical component of our economic growth strategy. And my administration is working every day to keep that spirit of opportunity and entrepreneurialism that fueled the Pappajohns and the Hansons' success alive and thriving. We need to maintain and improve our competitive edge that helps entrepreneurs grow in Iowa. And one way we do that is by supporting the mission of these 5 Pappajohn Entrepreneurial Centers. Hubs to experience innovation firsthand, a launching pad for creative minds. And we also need to tell Iowa's story. From thriving cities to rural areas working to redefine their futures, this is a state where dreams still can come true. And tonight's award winners, entrepreneurs past and present, are showing all of us just that. So congratulations to all of you. Thank you for being here and supporting these great centers. You are making a difference. We can't do it without you. So thanks, and I'm so proud to be here and to be a part of it. God bless you, and have a great evening. Thank you.
Bruce Hertzke was employed with Winnebago Industries starting in 1971, and he worked there until 2008. His last 12 years, Bruce held the positions of President, CEO, and Chairman of the Board. Please welcome Bruce Hertzke. I do need a comment on the photo. It's a little old, but we tried to get a current photo, but they all had to do with his hunting and fishing. So we thought we'd just go with this one. So Bruce, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tim. Good evening, everyone, and it's a pleasure to be here. I had the opportunity and pleasure to work for John K. and Luise company, Winnebago Industries, for 37 years. And during this time, there's a lot that could be learned. We had a lot of great years, boom years, that took off, and it's amazing to see how fast the company could grow. And we had a few tough times too. You know, we seen the economic downturns, and not a 5 or 10 or 15% drop. We're actually seeing 70, 72% drops in a year. That's significant. But you're lucky to have somebody like a John Kay at the helm, because he was never going to give up. During some of these times, I can remember when all of a sudden it was announced we were going to go into some ag business. Here, we're a Fortune 500 company. We're a world-renowned RV company. We're the Kleenex Coca-Cola of the RV industry, and we're going to do some ag stuff. We're going to build some hog confinements, cattle confinements, grain trailers, cargo trailers. We even did a few boat trailers. And when that first was announced, you know, everybody kind of scratches their head and say, what's this? But when you go back and you think about it, and you could look back, you could definitely see John Kay was going to keep employees working. He was going to keep employees receiving a paycheck. He was going to make sure their employees and their families had health care. And he was going to make sure that they continued to stay in North Iowa. Because he had the confidence, and he knew that the industry would be back stronger than ever before. And so during this time, he was able to keep hundreds of people employed. And the reason it means quite a bit to me, because I was transferred from the RV department to the ag area during this period of time. And I worked there from the very first product that we put out in the ag area till the last product left. And the economy came back. John was right again, and things took off, and I was able to go back into the RV industry to later become the president, CEO, and chairman at Winnebago Industries. This ride taught me a lot. John would never give up. He would do whatever it took, and he would try to do everything he could to keep his employees working and staying in North Iowa. We had a lot of opportunities to look at different things, and John would always come up with something to keep us busy. And I had the last few years of John's life to be on the exec group with him. And I can tell you that he instilled in all of us what really could be done by a true entrepreneur. I can tell you that John, and when I became the chairman of the board, I also had the privilege of a lot of different responsibilities, one being the Winnebago Foundation. And the Winnebago Foundation was created by John Kay and Luise to help community members, to help communities in North Iowa, to help all the nonprofits. And I was able to go back and review all that he had done from the start of the Winnebago Foundation. And I can truly say that he has made an impact in North Iowa for many, many years. Later, when John passed, he put a big sum of money into the Hanson Foundation, which even became much larger than even the Winnebago Foundation. And we would work together with Linda Kay at the bank, with the Hanson Foundation and the Winnebago Foundation, to make sure that all the major projects in North Iowa and the communities were funded and could be completed. And through this, I can tell you that the Hanson family has truly impacted almost every family in Forest City and the North Iowa community from all of their contributions, whether it be through YMCA's, the swimming pool, all the different projects that they did, all the nonprofits that they all contributed towards, definitely impacted all these people. And I can also say that they have definitely made North Iowa a much better place for all of us to live in. And now I'm very happy to say that that legacy continues. Mary Jo, John V., their family have continued to give to the North Iowa areas and the communities that we live in. They continue to support the major projects that improve North Iowa. And it is very proud for me to be able to tell you it was an honor to work for them as a family, and especially John Kay as an entrepreneur. Thank you. We have a video of John Kay and Luise Hanson's highlights of their life. The name of the video, A Trip of a Lifetime. Please enjoy.
John was the classic entrepreneur.
He was always trying to promote.
He had the ability to rally people around him because he had vision.
And when everyone is going the same direction at the same time, good things begin to happen.
He believed himself, and he followed that dream and many other dreams.
Traveling, taking trips has been a part of our family life since I was a little boy. Thinking back a little, we took the first major trip with the family into Minnesota back in their early 20s.
He grew up, of course, in the little town of Thor. His dad had a farm implement business, and as I understand it, at age 14, he knew enough of the business. His dad left for 3 weeks and put him in charge. So he had some early introduction to that. Another thing I understand, and he told me this, that he graduated from mortuary science degree at Minnesota and at age 21, and I believe at least as of that time became the youngest licensed mortician in the state of Iowa. Well before the Winnebago days, he was actually featured in Time magazine for trading, I think, an appliance, and that was kind of a unique thing at the time.
One of his main objectives, I think, was to create jobs for North Iowa. As they've said, he cared about the people. And there weren't many jobs around here.
Way back at the beginning, he would have a truckload sale of refrigerators or sofas when nobody else was doing anything like that. And so he made believers out of people. He sold refrigerators to people who didn't have electricity yet.
John Kay was all about the community. And the reason that Winnebago started was there was a small town here that had agrarian roots and it was dying. And he had a large store that he wanted to support and keep here. He saw the value in investing local and keeping things local. But Winnebago was founded as a way to bring industry into town so that his other businesses could survive.
He and the other people on the committee went to California and enticed Bonner Nistick to come then to Forest City. They were here about 9 months, went broke, and left. But he couldn't let that happen. He didn't want to let his investors down. I found a sheet a couple of days ago with signatures people all over, farmers and waitresses, and putting $100 in to help get that started. They believed in him again. He was trustworthy and believable.
It was probably at that time that the salesman part came out. He was the consummate salesman. He, as I understand it, he would make cold calls to some, look up RV dealers in the yellow pages, make a cold call and say, I got just the deal for you. And a lot of times the guy would say, well, I'll put one on my lot. And he said, I'll bring it right up. And then, as I understand it, oftentimes they call back and say, hey, that thing's sold. You got any more? Well, yeah, I think we do.
It became everybody's company. It wasn't just his company, it was everybody's. And they all had a common goal. And they all realized that if they could make this place work, they were going to step up in life. There were job opportunities for better jobs within the company. There was stock. So this was a real opportunity for the town. Not just the town, the region.
He liked to say that he liked to manage by wandering around. And he did just that. He would go through the plant, and one of the real big advantages he had in the early days was he knew a lot of people because of the furniture store and the funeral home. He really connected well with the people in the plant.
It was really interesting with Winnebago being out here in the middle of the prairie by itself. We didn't have the luxury of just-in-time products coming back from the suppliers. It was easier just to build it ourselves. And so the addition of our plastics plant, of the rotocasting, of the aluminum extrusion, of the chassis prep areas, of doing all of the sidewalls and all of the upholstery, everything here in-house. I think at one time we were over 85% vertically integrated. He always was developing other little side businesses. One of those businesses was Stitchcraft.
Well, that was actually Mom that helped get Stitchcraft going. She had hired women in the community to sew curtains, and the demand was growing so much that there just weren't enough women to complete the process. So they went to Minneapolis, bought commercial sewing machines, and closed the furniture store so that they could use that building, and that's where Stitchcraft was born.
She was his number 2 at the store. That allowed him to do other stuff. For instance, the funeral home, it allowed him to be gone to take care of a funeral over a certain part of days. In the early part of Winnebago then, he was hardly at the store at all. They still owned it and operated it, but it was Mom that was there. It gave him opportunity to be doing other stuff without worrying about the furniture store falling apart. I always thought that was one of the most important things that she did. It gave him time to be away.
He saw the vision, and he was already 3, 4, 5 steps down the road with that, and didn't want to take time to fight to make all of the things happen that would take to get things done.
I remember John Kay saying once, I'm going to have 10 ideas. And he said, one of them will be a good one. Your job is to determine which one it is. And to some degree, there was a lot of truth to that. John Kay was the consummate entrepreneur.
After the fire, they asked him if he would take the insurance, and he said, absolutely not. He needed to see that the people had jobs again. He needed to see that the town was going to survive.
John Kay came back the morning after this fire in 1964 that should have devastated the company. So he was just the next morning so excited to get together with his friends, with neighbors, with business associates to rebuild. And he said, we will rebuild, and we'll be better and stronger than ever. And so 18 months later, they were able to roll out the 1965 product line that was totally new to the RV industry. So that's what began in 1965 to put Winnebago on the New York Stock Exchange in 1967.
I think you have to realize that Winnebago, the RV industry, is a very volatile business. We learned that back in the early 70s.
One of the ways that John Kay persevered in a really, really amazing way was during the time of the oil embargo in 1973. Was an extremely difficult time for the RV industry. At that time, he had retired and was off in another part of the world and decided that he better get back home and see how he could help. And so he knew that he could survive. And Winnebago was one of the only companies to come out of that virtually unscathed and able to respond then to the next needs of the RV industry.
One thing about my dad, he carried a large bill in his billfold. And if someone had a need, that bill came out very quietly and he gave them help. We heard many stories later. We had no idea what he was doing.
He'd certainly tried to help. He gave every church some stock. And I suppose part of it was to make Forest City more attractive for future employees and current employees, have better churches.
John Kay was so very concerned about the community and the employees. I mean, others have talked about that, but you know, the amount of money given through the years from the Hanson Foundation and the amazing things that have happened in this community is just hard to imagine. He didn't have to do that, and he did.
John and Luise, I think, often saw the employees as their children. They wanted them to have jobs, homes, and it worked. It worked. So it was an interesting place. He could be sometimes a bear to work for, but like I say, the bear had a heart.
His legacy, I think, is a lot to do with people. I mean, he cared about people, he cared about the community. He wanted to bring this company to town, and it allowed people to achieve the American dream. And I talk about coming in '69, and how could I have known then what a historic period of time I was coming into. You know, here we were, the stock was listed on the New York Exchange in '70, and you thought, you know, here's a company that was just listed on the exchange, and a year or two later, it's the highest percentage climber on the New York Stock Exchange. We're getting all this press, and here we're sitting here in this little town doing our little town things, and I think sometimes that just kind of passed you by, but when you look back, you think, wow, you know, we were right in the middle of something.
He always had visions, he had goals, he loved just looking forward. So I am with John Kay and Luise V. Hanson Foundation, and I started with them in 1976, and I'm so proud to have been with them because they've given out $58 million.
Most of the money is given out to Forest City and surrounding towns, Mason City, Clear Lake, Lake Mills, and so on. So it's always been a homegrown foundation.
He helped the community in a lot of ways here in town, and obviously with the Hanson Foundation, by investing in things that would better the community.
We have given to the larger community, concentrating a lot on the communities where the employees have come from. Big projects and small projects. And we have all benefited not only from the monies, but so much of his good advice and the values that he instilled in us.
Well, if that's not a legacy, I don't know what is. So we just can't thank you enough for everything you've done for North Iowa. The Legacy Award goes to the entrepreneur who has made significant contributions to North Iowa through their vision, passion, and leadership. The vision has provided a vision for businesses and communities to achieve beyond what they thought was possible through teamwork, taking risk, and hard work. Passion. Their passion motivates those around them to find solutions and make a positive impact on their businesses and community. Leadership. Serves their community with integrity through innovation, growth, sound business practices, community responsibility, and partnerships. On behalf of NIACC and all of the citizens of North Iowa, it's my pleasure to present the Pappajohn Entrepreneur Legacy Award to the Hanson family. Accepting on behalf of the Hanson family this evening is Mary Jo Bowman. Please come forward, Mary Jo.
I want to thank every single one of the people who put this together, thought of it at the beginning to honor my father and mother. And they would be blown away by this whole thing. Thank you, thank you, thank you for this wonderful honor. I just wish my brother John could have been here, but as you know, he's not doing very well physically. He really wanted to be here. Thank you.